Hello, everyone, zero ones. I am here for my review of Real Housewives of Potomac Season 10, The Reunion Part 1. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am Lady T. I like to do reviews on scripted shows, reality shows, and also do reactions. If you're returning, you one of my peoples, welcome back. We start off with a montage from when Wendy first met the ladies, when she had just given birth a few months ago to her daughter, to her, getting her mommy makeover, to her fighting with the ladies, who are making up with the ladies, and her being appreciative of the ladies. Then we go to finding out that Wendy and Eddie have been arrested on fraud charges and showing their mugshots. Now, I have not talked about it because I don't really like talking what's going on in present time. I like to focus on what was happening on the show, so that's why I haven't been speaking too much about Wendy and Eddie, but I can just only imagine you just sitting at home and then the police showing up and now you in jail. When I tell you that is one thing that will terrify me, I don't want to be nowhere close to anywhere with the jail cells at all. I am paranoid and I don't even be doing anything. I was at Burlington, what was this, Saturday? And I bought me a purse. Went through line, paid with my card. I'm walking out the door and the buzzer goes off and I'm automatically like, I did not steal. I'm literally just walking from the cash register out the door, and then the security comes over there and he was really nice about the situation. He was like, did you buy any jewelry or anything? I was like, no, I just got this purse. And he looked, he's like, oh yeah, there's a sensor on there. The lady who rung me up, she unconnected one of the sensors, but it was an extra one, so I went in line. She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." I was like, "Okay, cool." Like in that short amount of time, I'm already like, "Oh my goodness, they're gonna try to arrest me because they didn't think I'm stealing and all this other stuff." But that alone, in that short amount of time, had me nervous. I can only imagine Wendy and Eddie being arrested, being away from their kids, and how do we explain this to our kids? I wouldn't be no more good. I do appreciate Wendy showing up and facing the music. So once she sits down, Andy gets to asking her questions about her and Eddie getting a divorce and the case that they have going on. Of course, she can't mention anything because this is an ongoing trial, and then anything she said can be held against her in a court of law. So the best thing to do is keep your mouth shut. We find out the reason why Eddie and Wendy were looking so disheveled in their picture is because when the police showed up, she was taking a nap. Eddie come in waking her up talking about some there was police at the door. Now that is never a good thing when the police show up at your door. But here they are, and she had been crying because she had got arrested. This is a scary situation. Your mascara is running, your eyelash is about to fall off. You was in a good sleep, so now your hair is looking deceitful, and now I've been arrested and I have to take a picture. Like, I can only imagine the stress of the situation. Like, I would never want to be in a situation like that in my life. Eddie, they thought she had been, had some happy Eddie. No, I was in a good sleep, and then I was waking and arrested. Now she's worried about her kids. She's worried about her freedom. It's a lot. Eddie was looking disheveled, not because of Happy Eddie. It's because while he was in his cell, he was sleeping, and they just woke him up, and now you half sleep, and you trying to take a picture, you disoriented, you scared, all these things is going on because you got arrested. It was a lot. The ladies seem to think that Wendy is just like, oh, this is nothing. But like, no, she is hanging in there by a thread. She has her kids to think about. She's got her future to think about. Like, the two younger kids, they don't really know what's going on. But the older son, all he had to do was get on his phone and Google and find out that his mom and daddy was arrested. So now every time they leave the house, he is scared that they are going to get arrested again. So they had to assure him, like, hey, son, I know I was looking off to the side. I was supposed to be looking at my camera. I apologize. Like, every time they go to court, they let him know, so to get some anxiety out of him. And, like, all the ladies, they're kind of sort of joking and, like, not too much pressuring her, which was a surprise to me. Now, y'all, I be going, like, by clip, so that's how I do my reviews. I don't just watch it all the way through and talk about it, so they may bring it up later. I don't know. But It's not until Ashley has to speak up. And y'all know Ashley, if you were down, she's going to try to squash you even more. She has to be let it known. It's like, oh my goodness, like 2 people around me have been arrested. It's almost like shame on y'all, and it's almost giving, oh my goodness, I can't be around people who have been arrested. And this is when my mind automatically went to, so you mean to tell me Sheila and that man that she been with for the last 20 years who had her living in a tent, they have never did anything criminalistically? Michael, he's never done anything criminalistically. Now, if y'all do here, I will make up a word. Criminalistically, I don't believe is a word, but it sounds appropriate now. So you mean to tell me, you know, everybody and the people in your life that you've been around, nobody has a criminal record? Now, I'm not gonna say what Wendy and Eddie have alleged to done is no big deal, but let's not forget that Michael was sued for grabbing somebody who did not want to be grabbed. And let's not forget, we've seen Michael grab people who didn't want to be grabbed, whether they sued him or not. So even though that's your ex-husband, that was somebody in your life who you was defending, but you looking down on any of them. Now I know crime is a crime is a crime, but to me there's a hierarchy in crimes. I think that it is a lot worse that you was out here, you know, touching somebody against their will, as opposed to somebody allegedly, you know, scamming insurance companies. I'm just gonna say that. That may sound messed up. They both wrong, but I think it's a lot worse to be up there violating somebody physically than it is taking money from these billion-dollar corporations. It's still wrong, but I don't think it's as wrong as somebody out here, you know, harming people physically. I'm just saying. They discuss Stacy and the lies that she is told. First, they talk about her being on QVC, and it is the same Stacey that is on QVC that we get on the show. And she was like, that just shows you that who I am on QVC is who I am on this show. But it's like, yeah, you're being performative on QVC and you're being performative on this show, which I necessarily don't have a problem with. I still like Stacey, even though Stacey, she be telling some lies. But the fact, I keep saying this, but the lies Stacey tells, they only affect her. She is only lying about her situation, as opposed to Giselle and Ashley, who have told some lies, and it could have really damaged somebody's reputation. It could have caused some, like, a lot of harm to people over the lies that they have told. So the fact that they're trying to call her on her lies, and whether she was with TJ, whether she paid TJ, whether she and TJ or her and Timo actually divorced or not. Now, Giselle, did you or did you not bring Jamal on here in season 5 pretending to be your boyfriend? When we as the audience and the ladies in the group knew that was a lie. That y'all wasn't really together for real, but you brought him on here so you can have, what, a man on this show? After you got on here first season talking about he's a cheater, pumping eater. How he was cheating on you before y'all got engaged, while y'all was engaged and married. So the fact that you was lying about a relationship, it really like gets me. Now Tia and Stacey, they going back and forth because Tia feels that, now I can understand why Tia's upset. Like, you lied to me about why Timo was out of town and not showing up, and I relayed this information to Wendy, and now you making me look like a liar. I can understand that, but the amount of anger that Tia's going off of about this little thing is kind of weird to me. And I guess because I'm not in that situation, I mean, I shouldn't. I just, since it was not me, I can't really say how somebody else would feel. And now Tia's also talking about how Stacey be out here code switching. And she thinks she's all that because she is married to somebody from another country and all these other things. And I was like, I don't think that Stacey thinks she's all that because she's well-traveled and she's married somebody from a different country. I don't believe that to be true. And now, like I said before, I like Stacey. Does Stacey lie? Yes, she be lying. She's lied about her relationship, but about her relationship status and who she's with. But we not gonna act like Giselle have not lied about her situation and what she got going on. Ashley lied about her situation with Michael. When Robin was on the show, she made it seem like her own wine was the best thing since sliced bread, and that was not true. Like, these ladies have lied about what they're currently going on with their spouses. And again, I say, Stacey's lives does not affect anybody, as opposed to the lies that Giselle and Ashley have done that could have really harmed somebody's reputation and their livelihood. They continue to talk about Stacey and her lies and how she lied last season and said that she was not starting a cannabis line. Now, I want to know how they're getting this information, because if I'm working with somebody, you don't need to be telling my business to anybody. I don't care who they are. If I'm starting a company, this is me and you discussing business. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. That would be one where I would be upset about. Like, why are you discussing my, business ventures with somebody else? That's one. But two, if I was Stacey and I have not crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's about a business that I am starting, I am not going to bring it up so that y'all can be like, see, I knew she didn't have nothing going on. She was just lying. No, until it's signed, stamped, and sent through the system, I wouldn't be saying anything. So at the time, no, Stacey did not have a cannabis line. She was still in the works. She was still talking. So technically, she didn't lie, but she could have been like, I am in the works of, starting some business that has not been, we have not sealed the deal yet, so I'm not comfortable talking about it. Now, this is the thing that Giselle and this is the thing that Ashley, they like to do. Since they don't have anything, Giselle has never had anything going on besides her kids, and all three of them are off to college. So now what does she have? Nothing but using other people as her storyline, stirring the pot, if you will. Ashley has not had a storyline since she left Michael. She has been using everybody in her family and her on-again, off-again boyfriend with Josh as a storyline. And that is nothing more than to bring them on there and to humiliate them. So what they do is, whatever you have going on, if they can poke a hole in it, they're going to do that, and they're going to continuously hound you about this information, even though it does not affect them in any shape, fashion, and or form. I don't know, this accent is kind of coming through on me. So, it's the fact that y'all mad about what she got going on. Now, Whitney, she does say that she thinks it was Stacey named the name Shayo is, a little slap in the face to she and Eddie because of how they was acting with the TJ situation last time. And she was like, I think Stacey is smart to do something like that. She's shading her, but being, giving her props at the same time. She's like, you my friend, you my girl, but we're not going to act like you didn't do this because me and Eddie let your business be known last season. But like Giselle, you bringing up her, whether she done paid TJ or not, like you didn't bring Jamal on here. So I'm going to need you to stop. Just like Ashley has brought Josh on here. And I'm pretty sure she probably gave him a little bit something, or come on here for exposure. So it's basically the same thing. I'm glad that Wendy confronted Angel about having so much smoke for her that we was episodes upon episodes upon episodes upon episodes of her having an issue with Wendy when Giselle made this comment. And it was so funny to me then, it is so funny to me now that once it was proven that Giselle, out of her mouth, had to tell Angel, she is the one who said the catfish comment. Wendy just laughed, and Angel basically like, okay, well, since it was Giselle that said it, then it's fine. And when it's like, you doggone it was hounding me from the beginning, trying to use every excuse in the book as the reason to be mad at me, when Giselle was the one that said you look like a catfish. Giselle was the one that said that you was evicted by way of Tia, and we gonna tug on you just a little bit too, Tia, because you was the one that jumped, skipped, and ran and told Giselle that Angel has to move. Again, I say this. I do not believe Angel was evicted. She had an Airbnb and she was supposed to be out at a certain time because I assumed she thought that they was finished filming and they needed more footage. And she was like, well, I got to go back to Colorado because my Airbnb is gone. So I don't think that she was evicted. As far as the catfish thing, I am a person whose weight has fluctuated, mainly because, was it early 2025, I was on a high dose of medicine that made me eat a lot, and I got swole. If you go back to the videos that when I first started about 4 months ago, you can see how much bigger my face was because I was on a high dose of medicine, and my weight fluctuated. I got down to 124 pounds. I, at one point, was 144. Not even a month later, I was down to 122 because I had got sick. And to get my weight up, I was put on a steroid, a high-dose steroid that had me eating a lot to gain weight. So, therefore, my weight ballooned back up. But now I'm not on that such high dose, and I have thinned out a lot, especially in my face. So I understand weight fluctuation. That picture of Angel looked even thinner than what she was when she was at her thinner weight before she had her kids. That's why it looked off. It looked like her, but it didn't look like her at the same time. And all the ladies admit, yes, they do use, filters and face tuning, those things, but you still look like yourself. That looks like a completely and utterly and different person. I say all this to say, I am glad that Wendy was getting at Angel. It's like, you had all this smoke for me, but you didn't have anything for Giselle because you came on here looking at Giselle as a big sister. Now, I don't know why, because Giselle has never done anything to show herself as being a big sister. They question Angel about saying that Wendy had butthole lips and Forest Whitaker eyes. Now, when I first saw it, I felt some type of way. I didn't know exactly, something about it. I can't explain it. Something about it just didn't sit right with me, and I couldn't figure out exactly what kind of emotion I was getting out of it. And then it clicked on me. It's almost, I don't want to say colorist, but it was a featurist comment for her to make. Which is funny because Angel has gone on and on and on again about being upset about the catfish comment. She has said previously how before she had her kids and she had gained weight, her physique was her moneymaker. She used to host red carpets. So for somebody who has felt not so good about their current weight, now let me stop. I don't think so much that she doesn't feel comfortable with her current body weight. She doesn't like people talking about it. That's why the catfish comment hit so hard. And this is where I'm going to say it again, and y'all probably going to be upset, why you keep on bringing this up? It's the fact that she was more mad at Wendy for laughing instead of Giselle for making the comment. Because Giselle said the comment of, well, it felt like a catfish. And she had more vitriol for Wendy for just laughing. But then gonna turn around and get with her sister and say she got butthole lips and Forest Whitaker eyes. And it was coming off of talking about her features. But Wendy was like, you got mad about somebody talking about your features, and then you turn around and do the exact same thing. And I was like, see, Angel, at the end of the season, I start to have more sympathy for Angel. But for up until they got into Colorado, that's when I started having just a little bit of sympathy for Angel. But before that, it's like Wendy, was mad because Wendy didn't greet her at the airport. She was mad because Wendy called her a catfish. And she went on and on and on and on and on and on about Wendy. When Giselle has called her a catfish, said she was evicted, all these other things. But soon she found out it was Giselle making the comments. It was like, well, that's okay then. That's cool. We just gonna slide past that. But spent how many episodes getting on Wendy? Now I know the name of the show. They shade people, but it's like it was coming differently when it was towards Wendy, and I never understood why that situation was. She tries to like breeze past it like, I apologize, so let's not talk about this no more. But no, you talked about this for several episodes, and now it's time to go and say, what exactly did you mean by these comments that you was making towards Wendy? They talk about Ashley being meaner this season. Now, I don't know if y'all forgot, but Ashley's always been this way. Ashley was like this from season 1, looking into everybody's background and finding out that Robin and Juan were having some financial struggles. Then, what was it? Like, she was having an issue with Candace every time you turned around, which I think that was a jealousy that Candace had parents who loved her and spoiled her, and Ashley did not have that. I'm just going to be plain and simple with you. I never did understand why I kind of sort of understand why she had an issue with Wendy, because Wendy did come over here talking Maya and Heidi about her accomplishments and told Ashley, you should, refer to me as Dr. Wendy. But then at the same time, Ashley has done some grimy things. She walked up into Candace's house after she was told to leave, then acted like she was so fearful for her life when Candace, pulled that butter knife on her. But I said then and I said now, once somebody tells you to leave their house and you stay, that is trespassing. So therefore, I'm protecting my property. You thought it was just because Candace's mama, Miss Dorothy, owned the house that this ain't your house, it's your mama's house. I live here and I pay bills here. This is my house. Therefore, you need to get up out my house. And then what she turned around to do once Monique and Candace had that situation, even though she didn't see how it played out, she ran there and did a replace report to apologize to Monique. Even though the previous year, she let everybody know who would listen that Monique had a drinking problem. And then Monique had an accident because of this drinking problem. Well, let me say this. She insinuated that Monique had a drinking problem. She insinuated that Monique was driving while under influence. She insinuated that's why Monique's baby is no longer here. So Ashley's always doing evil things. Brought her friends on here to make it seem like Chris was trying to get with them. And then played into the scenario that Chris Bassett was trying to get with her friends. And played into it that Chris Bassett was doing something untoward towards Giselle. So we're not going to sit here and act like Ashley has never been mean and evil just this season. No. When she found out the news about Wendy, I'm pretty sure she was rubbing her hands, jumping up, doing jumping jacks, doing backflips and everything. They're like, ha, 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 you went to jail. It's like, Win is in the pen. I was like, I say this all the time. Don't laugh at somebody's misfortune or downfall, because you never know when it's going to happen to you. That was the gist. If I left anything out, by all means, leave a comment below. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Feel free to subscribe. It is free all day, every day, free $99. Make sure your notifications are on so when my beautiful face puts a video, you can click on it, you can like it, and share with your people, and you can come over and be one of my peoples by clicking that icon above. This is Lady T signing off. Have a good one.